Well, hi, BookTube. Bill Ruttenberg here with the Ruttenberg Library. I wanted to come to you with a weekly reads, or maybe this is even a monthly reads, because I haven't made a video in a few weeks. We've been busy at school. We had football playoffs, our 8-man football team at our local high school. They made it all the way to the state championship before getting beat by, they get beat by 9 points. Very, very good football game. It was exactly what a championship game should be like. But we ran into a juggernaut. They were really, really good. Anyway, yeah, we'd been busy with all the football, and then in the meantime, to make things a little busier, those last couple weeks, we had started basketball for our middle school, and so I've been busy with that, and then just everything in the classroom, and we've been still digging things out of boxes. Last couple of days we've been decorating for Christmas. Of course, we had to get the house ready for Thanksgiving. We had our first family gathering here at the new house, and looking forward to the month of December, because we're going to have family at the house for basically the whole month, almost the whole month anyway. And so we're real excited about that. And yeah, so life has been busy. We've been tackling little honey-do lists all over the place, and I just hadn't had time to make a video. And so anyway, part of this last couple of months, we have been putting up the new bookshelves like what you see behind me. And I've got a wall on this side and then a wall on the opposite side where the bookshelves are exactly like this. And I got all my books on the shelves. They are not necessarily in the order they will stay in, but they're on the shelves, needless to say. And I did group, I got some groupings done. I got my Grisham over here. I got my Ken Follett and my James, or my John Jakes here. My Missioner's right behind me. And been trying to group them. But I also added in an extra shelf up above, and so it kind of squeezes the space, and so you can only get the paperbacks in that one certain row. So you can't have, if you've got a mixture of hardback and paperback, you can't get all of one author on one shelf necessarily. But anyway, you do with what you got. But now I've got the downstairs library is all, the shelves are all full. This second floor library, all the shelves are full. And then yesterday, I filled up all the shelves on the third floor of the house with all my other books. And so everything is at least on a shelf. That's an accomplishment in itself. So anyways, I just wanted to make, like I said, it's a kind of a cloudy, gloomy Saturday afternoon, and thought I would use this time to make a weekly read so you know what I've been reading. If you follow my Goodreads, it looks like I haven't hardly read anything. Looks like I've only read, 3 books, I think? Maybe 4, 3, I can't remember. But anyway, doesn't look like I've been reading, but I have been reading all month long. And my reading has been centered around, Historathon 2023, nonfiction November, World War November. I mean, all 3 of them are primarily nonfiction. I guess World War November extends into the fiction side of things. But it's been a busy month of reading. You just can't tell by my Goodreads list. But I was hoping to get several books finished up this weekend with the long, holiday weekend and not having school. But I'm not going to get nearly as much finished as I thought. I should at least wrap up one book. I wrapped up one Thursday? No, I don't even remember. Who cares? Let's just get into it. So the one that I know I'm going to wrap up, I have 19 pages left in this, and so I will have this finished. But it's just the last 2 chapters, and it's General George Washington: A Military Life by Edward Lengel. I have thoroughly enjoyed this book. It is a really good read. Lengel does a great job of staying, even keeled. He's not like real pro Washington or anti-Washington. He's kind of down the line. He shows his goods and his bads, and I've been pretty impressed with how level-headed he's been with the writing of the book, because a lot of people like to go, a lot of authors will go one way or the other, and so I think he's done a very, very good job, fabulous job of staying level-headed with Washington and his military exploits or lack thereof in a lot of cases. I'll tell you, my biggest complaint of this book is I'm going to show you the font. You see the font. The font, for whatever reason, that font, my eyes do not like that font. The spacing and everything's fine, but it makes me feel like I'm going cross-eyed. Everything kind of blurs with this particular type of font. I don't like the font, but everything else I love about the book. It's going to be, like I said, I only have 2 pages left, like 19 pages. I'm going to finish it here this afternoon sometime, and this is going to be a 5-star read for me. Highly recommend it. Good take on Washington and his military life. Again, doesn't get into a lot of the social aspects. It does not get into a lot of like his politics and stuff like that. It is mainly almost probably 99% military, just like the title says. So that's what I've been reading, and that was, I think, supposed to be, I think I started that during third quarter Historathon 2023, and then I kind of put it to the side because I started a handful of other books. And so that's like a finish. I'm finishing that up for third quarter Historathon 2023. Plus, it's been on my list for a really long time. We watched this documentary at school, and I know I've told you about it. I've probably talked about it every year for the last 3 years on BookTube, but it's called Washington the Warrior, and it's a documentary put out by History Channel from, it's been a few years ago, but we watched that in class, and Edward Lengel is one of the historians who helps narrate the story, and they always put their name and then any of their famous works about that topic that they're discussing below their name. And he was one of them that a long time ago, I wrote it down, bought the book, and I had good intentions of reading it, and I never got to it. And so finally got to it this year, and glad I did. And there's another one that, and I don't know that I have it up here. I think it's up on the 3rd floor. Yeah, I'll have to bring it out, but it's another one that I'm going to read that I saw from that. So this month, we're at the end of the month. It's World War November. I sadly have to tell you, I have finished no books for World War November. I have had 2 steadily going for the whole month. I haven't read them every single day, but almost every day, and or at least every other day. And I have thoroughly enjoyed reading both of these books, but I am sad to say, I know I won't finish this one. I'll probably finish the other one, but I started A World Undone, the story of the Great War, 1914 to 1918 by G.J. Meyer. This is excellent. And I think I told you about this in another, probably a month ago, in a review I did, or not a review, but when I was talking about the book. And this is a excellent account of World War I. It's very detailed, but yet it's written in a style that everybody can understand. It's not going over the heads of people, and I am thoroughly enjoying this, and I highly recommend it. Now, with this book, I'm not as far. I'm 234 pages in, and it's like a 700 and, let's see, total pages, 777 pages, and so I'm not even halfway through. I'm probably, a quarter of the way? No, a third of the way through. I'm about a third of the way through. And yeah, it's really good. It's just, I've got so many other books going that I haven't when I read it, I usually just read it a chapter at a time. It's about 20 pages a chapter. And so I've been doing that about a chapter at a time. And it's kind of slowed things down for me, but still enjoying it. Highly recommend it. I went into it knowing I wasn't going to finish the book, but like during November, but I had good intentions of getting it started, and I have, and I'm really enjoying that. So the next book let's just do the other World War November book, and I'm reading Storm of Steel by Ernst Junger. It's his memoir of World War I. This book is powerful, highly recommended. Anybody that likes to study war, likes to read about war, not that you have to like war, but just find it interesting. Ernst Junger's account of World War I is absolutely fascinating. He pulls no punches. He tells you all the gritty details, very bloody, very gory, on what he witnessed, what he experienced through World War I. I am, let's see, 140 pages in, and it is 200, and I'm about halfway through. What is it? 289 pages, so I'm pretty much halfway through. This book I plan on finishing before November's done. I'm gonna I kind of focused the last 2 days on that George Washington book, and then for the next 3 days I'm gonna focus on this one and knock it out. And so I'll be done with this one. It'll be on my World War November knockout list, and it'll also be on my nonfiction November knockout list, and it will be on my my Historathon 2023 knockout list. It'll hit all 3 of those reading events. So I'm really glad that I've read this. I've pulled some stuff out. I made, just 4 tabs in there. Probably should have made more, but I didn't have the tabs. Ready to go. But anyway, got some stuff that I'm going to use in my class. So highly recommend it. My daughter is decorating the Christmas tree right now, and she is showing me that she stole one of my candy canes. We got flavored candy canes, and mine are the cherry flavored ones, and she's bragging that she stole mine. Anyway, the next book that I've been reading was sent to me by the author Seth Augustine, and it is Llama with a Gun. It's interesting, and he sent me a review copy, and I've been working on this, and I've been reading a couple chapters every morning, off and on. Usually I get 2 chapters in, well, maybe just 1 chapter in some mornings. Kind of just depends on how much time I've got. But I'm going to start focusing when I get done with Ernst Junger. This is the one that I'm going to focus on. I'm going to get it knocked out. Again, I'm about halfway through, 158 of 271 pages. So I'm a little over halfway with this one, and it's interesting. It is interesting. It's about I'm sorry about the interruption. My daughter was wanting to give me a candy cane because she is decorating her tree. She's got a tree in her playroom. But anyway, reading Llama with a Gun, and the main character is trying to gain independence for Mongolia, and it is a fictional story. It's got some what would you call it, fantasy aspects to it. He can read minds and stuff and he can if not read minds, maybe what's the right word I want? He can get people to do what he wants them to do with his mind. And and then obviously Llama with a Gun, so he's physically trying to gain or start a revolution for Mongolia. Thank you to the author for sending that to me. That's definitely something that I probably honestly would not have picked up, just because that's not my genre to read, but it's been interesting to read. So the next one that I've been reading, that most of you on BookTube have called me crazy for not reading it yet, but I've been just kind of picking through it. I had a really long dry spell of not picking it up because I was reading other stuff. Not because I didn't like it, but because I was reading other stuff. But the other morning I read another chapter or another story out of Sherlock Holmes. This is the original illustrated Sherlock Holmes, 37 short stories and a complete novel from Strand Magazine by Arthur Conan Doyle, and thoroughly enjoying these. These are good. They're fun. You can sit down for half hour, 45 minutes and get a story read, and I've enjoyed that, and I can't wait to get where I am reading one every morning. After I get a couple of these other books knocked out, that's my plan, is to read one every morning and slowly work my way through the book. But that's been good. Another book that I have been dipping into is A.W. Tozier's And this book's got 3 different books in it, but I've been reading The Pursuit of God. And Tozier, of course, is a Christian author who he lived a while back, and just good stuff, good Christian stuff. And so I've been reading on that. Got that handed to me from a fellow teacher at school. He let me borrow his copy, and really enjoying that. Let's see, the next one I've been reading, The New Bedside Bathtub and Armchair Companion to Agatha Christie. I say new, it's not new. You can tell by the cover, it's an old copy, but it's interesting because it's got like a short summary article over each book that she wrote, and they're all in order that they were written, chronological order. And then it's got in between, do 3 or 4 books, and then it'll do just odd articles. Let me give you an example. It'll give you odd articles about themes that come up in Christie's books. So, hang on. Oh, this one, like this article, is called The Cruder Methods, Knives, Guns, and a Concerto for Blunt Instruments. And so it just kind of goes through her stories and talks about, just different aspects of her stories. And like there was one on poisons. Let's see, Macabre Tea Party. Let's see. Well, anyway, you get the idea, and it's all about her. And what I've been trying to do, and I need to catch up because I'm behind on this. I was reading the full book, and then I would go read the summary, and after those summaries, of course, I'd read those short articles. But I found that interesting. Just gives you another look at stuff. And then also, if I'm reading that Christie book, and there's something that I always worried I'm going to miss something that, I'm just not smart enough to get it. And so I go back to that just to make sure that I'm catching everything that's being said. Another book that I started, I have not gotten very far at all. As you can see, I'm not hardly anywhere in it. And it might be one I just put away till next year. Maybe I'll dip in. I'm not sure. But it's 1915, The Death of Innocence by Lynn McDonald. I was going to try to read this one with the other World War I book, but I quickly found out that I was getting bogged down in everything I was doing, and so I backed away from it. I started it, and then I backed away from it fairly quickly. It was good, what I read. I just didn't get very far. So 1915 by Lynn McDonald. And then the last book that I've been dipping into in physical copies is John Meacham's The American Odyssey of George Herbert Walker Bush. Or Destiny and Power, The American Odyssey of George Herbert Walker Bush. And I have loved this book, and I cannot wait to get back into it. Like I said, November kind of threw me off because I was doing these reading events, and so I put it down. But I'm, halfway through, maybe 2/3 of the way through, because this has got a big, like section for notes and bibliography and stuff. So I'm about 2/3 of the way through it. I'm in his first presidency, or I guess it was his only presidency. That was he just got elected to the presidency. There we go. And I've been enjoying this. I'm 378 pages into a 601 pages of actual text. So I'm doing well on that. Highly, highly recommend that. And then the other book that I'm reading that I don't have with me right now, but I've been reading it at school, is given to me by the English teacher to read. She thought it was good, and it was I Am Mrs. Jesse James. And it's interesting. It's got a good storyline so far. I'm not real far in it, maybe a quarter of the way through it, and maybe a third, something like that. But Jesse James is just getting into his bank robbing activities, and he hasn't quite married Mrs. Jesse James yet. And so I've been enjoying that. And then on audio, I have been listening to a book, The Odyssey of Phyllis Wheatley. And I can't remember what the subtitle was, but it's very interesting. It goes through slavery in the colonial times. It goes through the history of like the American Revolutionary time period, because that's when Phyllis Wheatley lived, and she was a poet, and African-American poet who had gotten her freedom. She was a slave and got her freedom, and was pretty famous and published poet. and I've always wanted to learn more. I talk about her in my history class, but I had never read a biography, and so I found that on audio, and I've been listening to that in the mornings when I'm doing dishes and stuff. So that's been good. So that's basically what I've been reading there, BookTube. I'd be interested to know what you're reading. Is everything going well with you? Is your reading, continuing? Are you involved in any of the reading events in November? Those, I mentioned those three big ones: nonfiction November, World War November, and Historathon 2023. We're in the fourth quarter now, almost 2/3 of the way through the fourth quarter. So are you involved in any of those? And are you, do you have specific books for those? Let me know in the comments section down below. If you've read any of these books, let me know what you think. And so been good talking to you. And until next time, happy reading.